Okay, so the final set of controls that need their parameters promoting up to our asset are the eyes controls. And just as before with our head, we're going to have attached controls and detached controls that need promoting up along with their respective match attach or match detach buttons, as well as the attach to detach blend. So let's go ahead and start promoting up our eyes parameters. So I'm going to allow editing of contents, bring up our type properties, let's collapse master control, torso, arms and legs, and create a new folder inside the head for our eyes. And inside this folder, the first thing I want to do is promote up the eye control attached to detach blend. So I'm going to jump over to from nodes and hunt down our eye controls asset, and I want to promote over the attached to detach blend. Let's rename that to eye blend. And then underneath this, I'm going to create a separator, and then I want a label. I'm going to rename this to @ for attached eyes controls label. So attached eye control label, and I will just rename this to attached controls. Let's copy that, hide that main label, and then paste that into our second column of 3 columns to give us that centralized text, again as we have done many times now, setting up the parameters on our assets. So these are going to be the attached controls, and we need our translate and rotate for the main control, as well as our left and right offsets as well, and then we can promote up that match attached to detach button. So let's go ahead and from those, well, we're already here, so let's promote up the match attached to detach button. I then want to hunt down the eye controls, and we're dealing with attached controls, so it's going to be the head control parent, and I want the translate and rotate from there. And let's rename these that we just promoted up. So this will be our eyes match attached to detach. This will be our @ for attached eyes T, and @ for attached eyes R. Let's move those above the button. Now I do need our left offset and our right offset, and these are going to be, as you recall, the small circular eye controls that allow us to offset the left and right eye uniquely. Now these are only able to be moved in 2D. They only have 2 different axes they can be moved on, and that means that instead of promoting up their parameters where we'd have to promote up their translates and get all 3 translate parameters, I want to create a float vector 2 or 2 float vector 2s, one for left, one for right, from scratch by myself, and then jump down inside the asset and actually reference those parameters up on the asset. So let's jump over to by type and create a float vector 2 and another float vector 2. This will become our @ left eye offset, and this can become left offset. Let's copy that and paste, renaming this to right with the label right offset. So that's now going to give us that left offset and right offset. I can accept that, okay. And then we can go ahead, jump over to eyes. We've got our left offset. I'm going to right click and copy that left offset in X, jump inside and hunt down our attached eye controls. So right at the top of our network, here's our left eye control. I'm going to paste that in for X, so paste, copy, relative reference. I'll do the same for Y, but then change that from @ left offset X to @ left offset Y. We can then grab our right control, paste, copied, relative reference. This will now become our @ right eye offset in X. I'm going to copy that expression, paste that in for Y, and change that to Y as well. So now we can jump up, save our operator type, match our current definition, and we should be able to come in here and work with moving our attached eye controls. So there we have translation, we have rotation, and we also have the ability to come in and work with these newly created offset parameters on both left and right. So that's working for our attached controls. Let's go ahead and do the same now for our detached controls, and then we can test the match attached to detach and vice versa with the buttons. So let's go ahead and allow editing of contents, bring up our type properties, collapse master control, torso, arms and legs, collapse the head folder. I'm going to create a new separator. In fact, let's grab our separator and label, copy those, paste underneath our button. So paste parameters. I'm going to rename this to DT for a detached iControls label with the main label of detached controls just for us in our type properties. Give that 3 labels and change this to detached controls for the actual parameters that the animator will see. So let's go ahead and from nodes hunt down the detached iControls. That's going to be our eyes control underscore master control parent, and I want the translate and rotate. Let's rename this to DT eyes T and DT eyes R for detached eyes translate and rotate. Let's create 2 float vector 2s. One that's going to be our DT left eye offset with left offset as the label. I'm going to copy the name of that, paste that in for our next, and rename this to DT right eye offset with the label of right offset. We also need to promote up the button from our eye controls. So let's find our eye controls, the match detach to attach button. I'll rename that to eye match detach to attach. And actually, eyes would make more sense. So there we go. Eyes match detach to attach. So we need to hook up our left offset and our right offset. Once we have those in place, we can then lock our asset and make sure that we can indeed match attach to detach and vice versa. So I'm going to accept this and OK. We can jump down and I'm going to copy our left offset. So let's copy that. And jump down inside, find our detached left eye control, paste that in for translate X, paste that in for translate Y, changing that to offset Y, find our right control, paste that in for X, changing this now from left over to right, enter, double click Control C, Control V, change that to Y. I can now jump up and right click save operator type, right click match current definition. That will lock our asset. So now we can jump in, I can grab our attach control, and let's make this take up the entire right hand side of our screen. Fantastic. So I can grab our attach control, I can move this, I can rotate this if necessary, I can grab either of the individual eye controls and move those as well. And then I can come in here and say match detach to attach, and you'll notice there our detach and attach do exist in the exact same space. Fantastic. So they are existing in the exact same space. I can go ahead and zero out our detached controls back to their default location, and they do indeed move back to the default location. Let's grab the detached controls and move them, and let's offset this guy down, offset this guy up, and maybe rotate that over. We can now say match attach to detach, and indeed that too has worked, and our attach controls have matched the detach. So let's zero all of these guys out. Fantastic. So all of those are back to 0. And wow, with that, we've actually wrapped up promoting all of the parameters of our rig up onto our asset. That was a huge number of parameters that we've promoted up. That's a lot of control that the animator now has working with our rig. And that is going to conclude both this video and the creation of the rig. So with that, thanks a lot, everyone.